And you're up, Nancy.
Well, as you can see from our new form, it kind of summarizes all the information nicely, that this is a grant that we've used quite a few years for the Edward Burn that helps law enforcement buy equipment. It is one that we apply for and share with the city of Pocatello, so we have to have an MOU as they are considered a sub-recipient of ours. But it's almost guaranteed that we will get this grant, and the sheriff's office, I don't think they've quite determined what equipment they're gonna buy with it yet, but.
And it's a zero match grant.
Correct.
So,
And they don't have to specify their equipment before the grant?
He'll probably do that during his grant application.
Oh,
So the process with these federal grants is kind of backwards, I guess. So they have one form on one website that you have to fill out and get approved, which Commissioner Moser will have to digitally sign one of the forms for the certifications. Once that's done and they accept that, they will open up the grant application on another website. So we don't even know like everything that's in the grant application until we get that first one done, which Michelle, where this is a recurring grant, Michelle had already started that process, so we're just kind of in waiting for this so that the grant application can be opened up.
so when we do this, we need to authorize electronic signature?
Yes, there's a memo in the packet to authorize Andy Iverson and Michelle Shropshire to complete any online applications and such. The system has Commissioner Moser listed as our official signer, as the chairman.
this
So
is
he
justice
will get-
grant.
Yeah, so he will get an email saying you need to sign digitally, and so.
There. I get a lot of emails.
Michelle
from the
usually
justice grant.
lets him know this is gonna come and helps him get through it, so.
Okay.
So the only question, it says here that the total estimated project cost is $15,000 and the amount requested is $38,000. So that, the rest of it goes to the $15,000 for us
Correct.
and
is
then the
for
rest goes to
city of
Pocatello. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so the total program funding is 92.8? Or is that what's available out there?
You're looking on
I thought it was right here.
the, right, that.
Potential
is-
impact of target, 7,000. Amount requested, 38.
So they've already have allocations set up, and that is the most that Bannock County can apply for, is the 38. So not, that 93 is probably for other jurisdictions.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve grant application and authorize electronic signature by the chair when needed, when ready. How's that?
We have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I don't know, somebody put 1,000 letters on my desk. I've been signing a lot of things already.
I didn't put them in. I didn't even print them.
I heard your name was involved in the task.
Alls I
Well,
know,
yes, I helped create them.
alls I know is I'm grateful for the electronic signature.
Guilty by association.
She let me know yesterday, I was like, awesome.
That's what I said today when I walked in and watched Ernie start signing. I was
Nobody
like,
said anything to me till after they're printed. That's all I can say.
Just thinking ahead, that's all I'm doing.
We said yes on that motion?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, well, you can go ahead and come on up if you want, Anita. The next part. And what we're talking about now is a discussion about county credit cards and travel plan pertaining to elected officials. And I've thought about this, and actually after an elected official is no longer going to be elected in November, then I would like to limit the amounts on their spending and travel. I think their travel should be limited to within the state, and that their spending should have, I don't know,
Minimal.
$1,000 minimum, or I don't know.
Like a transaction limit, or,
If you're-
because even going, like within, if they went to Boise or if they went to,
Coeur d'Alene.
yeah, Coeur d'Alene, hotel rooms could potentially be more than that. Say Jason wasn't going to be in office next year and he was limited to the state travel, then if Carrie and him traveled to Sandpoint for clerk's conference, potentially he could accrue more than that.
And I don't mind that. There's Terrell. No, I don't mind it, but if there's a limit, then they can still come and talk to us.
So,
I just feel like the county should be protected somehow I mean, I know elected officials have their budgets and stuff, but the county needs to be protected from somebody just, well, say, giving their staff a big raise like just happened in the state,
Yeah.
you know?
So we have this argument of appropriation versus allocation, and I've heard legal and everybody talk. We do not appropriate at budget, we allocate. And so the problem is any of these things are still signed off by the commission, by our rules and regulations. So like I was invited to go to the commissioning of the Idaho, which I think it is completely inappropriate for me to go to. You shouldn't have that. Just like that, that raised that question with Lieutenant Governor deciding to just drain the budget of somebody else coming in.
Right.
Totally inappropriate. Now, there's some protections here because only the commission can set wages, but still there's other things. What's to say that they just don't go buy frivolous things? Go have a pizza party every day.
Right.
There's certain things that way that are inherent. While elected officials have an allocation of budget, they do not have appropriation. And if we want to go to appropriation, we can do that this budgetary cycle, but you will budget every single thing
You plan on spending.
down to the dollar of what will be spent. And if it's not, if it's with outside the variation that we want to set, there will not be anything that way. And that's the whole problem it comes down to, is yes, we have allocated funds, but elected officials are over. But when you start to spend monies and funds, especially policy, if we want to set policy right now, no one goes outside of the state of Idaho without the approval of the commission. Can we do that? You cannot spend money to go outside the state of Idaho for traveling dollars as per policy of the county without the authorization of the commission. Hey, Mr. Chairman, I move that we amend our policies to not allow any elected official to go outside the state of Idaho without the permission of the county commissioners for pay. There you go. We just solved the entire problem. I thought about that on the fly.
I'm with that.
That's all there is to it. You want to go outside? Have fun. You want to pay for it by the county? Better have us approve it.
Any concerns, anyhow?
So going earlier with the $1,000 limit, so Mr. Chairman, are you saying that they can spend up to 1,000 and then after that they have to get approval from the commission? Or just
Yes.
at the 1,000 then it's done? Because you want to make that
Well,
clear. Yeah.
yeah, it'd come, like I said,
Okay.
if they need to spend more, then they need to come talk to the commissioners.
and I need to verify that I can do that with the Zions, or how I do that with the Zions. And then I would need to know if all credit card transactions are limited to $1,000, or if we're just gonna do this on elected officials. But once I set that threshold, then once the commission approves the purchase, then I would need to be able to lift that in certain instances. So could we just set a policy, and then if someone deviates from that policy, then they could be personally liable?
I think that's the better way to go, because the other way would cause a nightmare for trying to approve and
It would, and when to increase and when not to, and that kind of thing.
yeah.
And with the trainings everybody goes to, that can take them out of the state of Idaho. That could.
Well, and what I'm saying is why are we leaving the state of Idaho? what are we doing? And actually, I mean, there's some stuff about leaving the state of Idaho if you're gone for more than a certain amount of days. Now I think it's like 28 outside of the state by constitution. You have to notify anyway. What I'm saying is really in the grand scheme of things of the pursuit of your profession, there's very few things that should take you outside of the state professionally. There's going to be those things where you go to those trainings and stuff, and we all understand that, and that's fine. And those are things that, hey, we got these annual trainings coming up. Here's this is what we're doing. It's not a big deal.
But if you're not coming back as an elected official, what's the point?
Why are we going?
Right.
That's the biggest problem I have. Is
I would probably make I don't know if we need to amend the motion, but I like the thought of making them personally liable for transaction over 1,000 if they didn't get prior approval. Just to prevent the draining of the budget, like we're saying.
so. Let's
We
make
need-
some motions, man.
Would we need employees and elected officials to sign a different credit card agreement form? Or I probably need to show that to you so that you know.
Well, if this passes, then we would want to give everybody notice, and
Right.
however the commission would want to do that, whether it's a signed acknowledgement or it could just be an email or an addition to our
I'm gonna
policy
send you an
handbook.
email, and if you want to violate the policy, we're gonna send you what's called a statement of charges.
So we can just implement the policy email, the
Right.
policy with the read receipt.
But if we already have like a signed agreement on like how to use the credit card,
We
then
do.
it might be, just to stay consistent, be good to update that.
And not to swing too far one way, in a reactionary state, this is only for departments whose elected official is not coming back.
Yep.
Okay.
Because I don't want to interfere with the normal operations of business for those that are,
So for lack of better terms, lame ducks.
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
Yep. All of us that are
That's an
squawking.
appropriate term.
It's an appropriate term.
That's what I was always told it was called.
No, it's lame duck. If you're lame duck, well, and you get it too. We get it when people were retiring, but they're
Yeah.
still traveling like mad. Why are you? I know you want to go do your hoorah and say all that. I have one thing of business left I'm going to go do in September. I'm going to go to the Association of Counties because I have some legislative actions that we're trying to get enough people spun up on to where they know how to go and what to do. Other than that, I'm not going anywhere.
So this would apply to those elected officials that are either not running in the general election for their position, or have ran in the general election and have lost that election.
Yes.
So it can either start at the primary level
Mhm.
on for the rest of the year, or from November to
Time now.
January. Okay.
Yeah.
Depending on what phase they're not.
Effective immediately.
Yeah.
And where do we put this policy? It's probably
Put it in
not in
travel
the general
policy.
personnel. Do we have a travel policy
Yeah, we did an accounting policy.
in the accounting policies? Okay.
But this could just be when we amend our policy, I'll include that, but until then, you guys could just put together some
Yep.
formal action and then
Yep.
Any
that work.
questions,
Yeah.
comments?
The only comment on the $1,000 thing is, I do know that in our office, when we go to Boise to school, and the summer school's coming up, it probably between lodging and travel and education, is probably gonna be a little over $1,000.
It's only one
Just
person that it
because of-
affects.
Pardon?
It's only one person that it affects.
Well, no, that's not how it's stated right now. It's departments where the elected official is not
Oh,
coming
yeah.
back. So on something like that, I would say just submit a memo for a business meeting,
Yeah.
get pre-approval for everybody, and
So we need to get pre-approval for all the ones going.
Yeah.
That's
And it's next week.
not hard.
Well, real
That's not
quick
hard.
though.
So
Well-
Cumulative, so most of the hotels are gonna be paid through direct bill. So how do you want us to enforce this? Is it going to be, because you're gonna have how many, like 5, 6 people going?
We have 6 people going. Some of them are only going for a couple of days,
Okay.
but there's 3 of them, I think.
That's why y'all had different per diems?
Yes.
Pardon? Yeah.
That's
Yes.
why there was 5 different per diems,
Yeah.
different amounts?
So
Yeah.
on a per person basis, they probably, I mean, by the end of it, they might exceed $1,000, but we wouldn't see it until it was going through. But it's also
Well-
in state travel.
Well, and honestly, you're here right now. We can talk about it a little bit. If we're gonna make this rule,
Yeah.
and it's affecting what you're doing next week, then we can amend that at this time, in my opinion.
So would the commission want like an anticipated amount, because maybe they think it's gonna be under $1,000, but after all the charges and everything goes over $1,000, how would the commission wanna handle that?
I would like to see just a proposal. We're gonna send 6 people to training. It's gonna be $1,500 a piece.
You could have a real simple memo of, hey, this is all, it's an email, hey, this is what we're doing. It's going in the general, it goes in one of the 2 meetings that we have going on every week of, hey, we have travel plans for the assessor's office, they're gonna go do this. Anybody have a problem? Nope.
And it's only for the departments whose elected official is not coming back.
Yep.
Yeah,
So do I need to make that memo to you guys? Or
I think we're discussing it now. Maybe, what names are gonna be doing who's gonna be doing the traveling?
I would just
Same people
I
that
was
got
gonna
per
say,
diem
yeah.
last week.
Yeah, there's 3.
I would just shoot an email just so it's clear and on the record.
And they're all appraisers. They're all
Yeah.
appraisers. I'm going for a couple of days.
But yours won't be.
Maybe, it just depends on.
So
if I get
we'll
my
just
abstract done,
approve
because
that on
right now
Thursday
that's
then.
not my
Sherry's
thing.
going for the whole.
Yeah, that's not a big deal. If you could just shoot an email with all the names to Brady and we just approve
I
it
will.
Thursday.
To
And then it's all
Brady.
done. It's not big.
And I'll give a list of an approximation of cost.
Yep.
I can do that.
So, no concerns.
Not right now off the top of my head. If something pops up, I'll let the commission know, but
Okay.
as long as we make it clear and we send it out and people understand, because it's gonna be a new policy that only affects certain departments and not others.
Yeah.
So what if someone does not read the email where they receive the notification?
Well.
They don't want to read the email and they want to do it anyway, you're going to get a statement of charges. If you charge, you will get charged to reimbursed, and we'll just garnish your wages, which is allowed. That's legal. We can do that.
Just
You want
throwing that out as an option. or
don't use a
possibility.
card. Don't use a card unless you're ready to pay the money back.
Okay.
I mean, that's
Well.
Pretty simple.
And right now, it affects Terrell and Sherry.
that's it.
I mean, that's who it affects.
And so it's just one of those things that you know, we're way nicer than the federal government or state agencies on stuff like this and misuse of cards. When you use a card and you don't have proper authorization, you pay it back. If it can't be refunded, you pay it back. And I don't know why we just don't adopt that policy. Stop doing things, you know. So.
Okay,
So could you read that back to us, what we're gonna do? Just to make sure.
So Commissioner Tubby moved to amend the policy to not allow elected officials outside the state of Idaho without permission of the county commissioners for pay. And Commissioner Huff added a friendly amendment without saying it, that it's only for departments whose official is exiting office, which will be a limit of $1,000 on the credit.
Do we need to change that? Just so it's clear that elected officials who didn't make it past the primary. or the
Just
general-
are not going to be
Non-returning?
that it will not be returning to office within the coming year or within the next fiscal year.
The next term.
Yeah, the next term. There you go. That's the correct legal term. The correct term is the correct term. There you go.
okay, we all good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm good with
And
that.
if we need to change it later, we can change it later, but we have a motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We have a new policy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
With that being said,